Welcome back to another tabletop review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 Sport II. This is the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522, a 22 caliber sporting rifle. If you're looking for a good 22 rifle built on an AR style platform, this could very well be the gun you've been looking for. A while back I bought a Smith & Wesson sporting rifle, the M&P 15 Sport II. Great gun at a great price. I really like it, but to be honest, it's a bit more than I personally need. I mean, I'm glad I own it, just in case, but I just don't have the opportunity for much long-range shooting where I can really take advantage of this gun's capabilities. So I found that I don't shoot it very often, which might be a good thing since whenever I have taken it to the range, I seem to go through ammo pretty quickly. And 5.56 rounds aren't cheap. Still, practice is very important. And that's where this 22 version of the M&P 15 Sport II seemed to make some sense to me. Let's face it, more rounds of 22 long rifle are shot by the American public than any other caliber, and for good reason. The 22 is affordable, comfortable to shoot, and still be rewarding to many of us who enjoy the challenge of shooting but still need to keep in a budget. Okay, let's acknowledge that the main drawback to the 22 rimfire ammo is of course the tendency for misfires and other malfunctions. While the 22 rimfire is fairly cheap, it's not known for reliability. And speaking of budget, I thought the price of the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 Sport II AR style rifle itself was very reasonable too, at about $450 at a local gun store. Now today there are a number of 22 tactical style rifles in the market, so the M&P 1522 has some competition out there. Perhaps I could have done better. I've had this rifle now for about 6 months and I've run over 1,500 rounds to it, so a good question might be, do I still think it was a good choice? But before we get into that, let's make sure that this gun is cleared first. By the way, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Smith & Wesson is an American company that's been making firearms since 1852. The Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 Sport II is based on the popular M&P 15 Sport rifle that was first released in 2009, followed by improved models eventually resulting in the 2016 Smith & Wesson M&P Sport II. And more recently, we have this 22 version of its M&P 15 Sport II, which is almost an exact representation of the full-size AR-15. All controls, features, and functionality are identical to its larger, bigger caliber brother. Of course, that was the point of the M&P 1522 Sport II, to allow for seamless transitioning for everything from teaching to training to cost-effective plinking on a familiar AR style frame. Today there are several good AR style 22 rifles available, but many would argue, and with good reason, that the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 Sport II is probably one of the finest examples. Packaging for the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 Sport II consists of a cardboard box with cardboard insert. We also have the manual and usual paperwork, along with an empty chamber tag, an elevation adjustment tool for the front sight, and of course the lock. It came with one 25-round magazine, Magpul M-Bus folding sights, and a 2-inch M-lock rail with attachment screws and hex wrench. I added an inexpensive Ohuhu electrode dot reflective sight, an additional 25-round and an additional 10-round magazine, as well as a vertical Magpul 4-end grip to mimic as it is on my AR. Smith & Wesson has offered several versions of their 1522. Specification of this particular M&P 1522 Sport, this is the model 10208, include a 10-inch M&P handguard that incorporates the popular Magpul M-Lock system, which allows for easy customization of the M&P 1522 Sport by adding accessories. This is further enhanced with the included 2-inch Picatinny style rail section designed to accommodate other accessories. This M&P 1522 Sport also comes with the popular removable Magpul M-Bus front and rear folding sights. A tool is provided to adjust the elevation on the front sight. The rear aperture can be used in standard mode or long-range precision mode by deploying the smaller flip-up aperture. The folding sights are easy to store and to deploy. The action is 22 long rifle blowback. There's a 6-position CAR stock. There's a functioning charging handle. There's a deflector, a 2-position receiver mounted safety. It comes with one 25-round magazine. 10-round magazines are available. The threaded barrel is 16.5 inches with 1 15-inch twist and made of carbon steel. It comes with a flash hider. The finish is matte black. The frame and grip are polymer. Overall length is 33.8 inches and the weight is 76.8 ounces. Of course, Smith & Wesson also includes a lifetime service policy. And note that the M&P 1522 is also available with a match-grade precision barrel, chamber, and trigger for about an additional $200. Also, some M&P 1522s were sold with the Smith & Wesson M&P MP100 red dot. As for function, one of the first things you experience is the familiarity of the AR controls. Everything is identical to a full-size AR-15 with the exception of the internal. The Picatinny rail, the sights, the flash hider, safety and magazine release are as you'd expect. An important point is that these controls are actually functional, and that's not the case on many of the other tactical AR style 22s out there. Even Disassembly is the same. A short functional presentation of a charging handle seems like an obvious reflection that this is a 22, and although well made, there is indeed a lot of polymer in this gun, and it's 26 ounces lighter than the M&P 15 Sport 2, but otherwise it's a full-size AR. Of course, being a 22, the internals are very different. For example, there's no buffer or buffer spring as you might expect, but Smith & Wesson did do a good job of using standard MOE parts like you'd find on a regular AR rifle. So the M&P 1522 really is a very good representation of a larger caliber rifle, and a lot of aftermarket full-size AR furniture out there will actually fit this rifle too. As such, as I said earlier, the advantage of the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 is that it provides a seamless transitioning on a familiar frame. Now, in preparation for the range, I disassembled, cleaned, and oiled the gun and installed an Ohuhu or reflective red dot similar to what I have on my AR. And with the use of the really nice loading tabs, I could easily load my two 25-round magazines and my one 10-round magazine with CCI mini mags. The Smith & Wesson manual recommends clean shooting quality 22 ammo like CCI mini mags, which is my preferred choice of 22s. But I also packed some other fairly good ammo for the range to test this gun's capabilities. My range has a maximum distance of 75 feet, but I started out with a target set at 50 feet so I could check my sights. I selected the smallest sighting target display I had with 2-inch images in order to provide a reasonable challenge for accuracy. Later I moved my target out to 75 feet and installed my Silencer Co. Warlock 2 suppressor. Charging is very light, has a bit of a plastic feel to it, but the magazine fit and everything else is very AR feeling. The trigger is a single stage with a pull of about 7 pounds. Reset is a short 1/4 inch, and the click is notably loud and heavy, but smooth. Overall, this is a very good trigger. This is a 22, so recoil is light and muzzle flip is minimal. As you might expect, given that the AR-15 action has typically proven highly accurate, the M&P 1522 did not disappoint. Accuracy was excellent from what I could tell given my limited ability, but probably even more importantly, with more than 1,500 rounds fired using standard or hotter load ammo, but no supersonic rounds, the M&P 1522 demonstrated excellent performance without a single malfunction of any kind. Of course, I followed the Smith & Wesson recommendations on higher quality ammo for the first 200, 300 rounds, but still, 1,500 rounds without a single malfunction, given this is a 22, that's actually quite amazing. Now check the internet and you'll find my experience regarding the M&P 1522's reliability isn't uncommon. I know 22 rifles and handguns are known for displaying malfunctions as they get dirty, which is one of their big drawbacks. It's true. I own a bunch of 22s and I can attest to the challenge sometimes with less than 100 rounds fired. But this rifle seemed to be an exception, unless, at least for me. Okay, I didn't try running dirty bulk and ammo, but I still think that this M&P 1522 may really change your outlook on 22 rifles. I can only say that this one has kept going and going without any problems, not one. Yes, I've seen internet reviews in which the M&P 2215 displayed failures to cycle, but all I can say is that my personal experience with this gun has been astonishing for a 22. The only real con I have for this rifle is it's very lightweight. I prefer as much similarity on a 22 trainer weapon as I can, but as often is the case, the 22 versions, although identical in so many ways to their big brother firearm, are often just lighter in weight. In this case, 1.5 pounds lighter. And it would have been really brilliant if Smith & Wesson could have found a way to include a forward bolt assist and a dust cover, but that's just nitpicking. Now, I said earlier that this gun ran everything through it without a single problem, but that's not entirely true. To be honest, a couple of months ago I did try a box of CCI Quiet 22 rounds that failed to cycle every round. But at only 710 feet per second, it's not surprising, and to be fair, I don't really think these should count. Otherwise, the Smith & Wesson 1522 has been operationally flawless. Okay, so this 22 version is noticeably lighter, but the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 is a remarkably designed and constructed rifle that mimics a full-size AR-15 so well, I don't think its lightness really matters. Because it's built on the full-size AR-15 platform, accessories and upgrades are out there if you feel the need. But again, the controls are not only identical to a larger caliber gun, they're actually functional. The gun is well built, it's accurate, it's reliable, and it's reasonably priced. Maintenance of the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 has also been easier than expected. Takedown and reassembly is simple, and although Smith & Wesson recommends keeping the gun clean and oiled, I've gone for hundreds of rounds without a single hiccup before cleaning. And at the risk of overstating what I've already said about its ability to handle everything I've run through it, there's something to be said and respected about this gun's reliability and impeccable functioning. As a .22, it's quite amazing. Disassembly begins with removing the magazine and making sure that the weapon is cleared. Put the safety on, release the bolt, push the takedown pin until it sets out, pivot the lower receiver away from the upper, push the pivot pin until it sets out, and remove the upper unit from the lower. Pull the charging handle to the rear and remove the bolt carrier assembly and charging handle. That's usually it, but you can also disassemble the bolt further if you like for cleaning. Compress slightly to free and tip up the guide rod. Slide the recoil spring off the guide rod. Then remove the recoil spring guide rod. Slide the bolt guide off the bolt. Reassembly is basically the reverse order of disassembly. Set the bolt back on the rails of the bolt guide. Return the recoil guide rod partway. Return the recoil spring to the guide rod. Compress slightly and work the end of the guide rod onto the slot at the end of the bolt guide. Return the charging handle. And return the bolt assembly. Return the lower end to the upper end. Check for function. There you go. After cleaning, Smith & Wesson suggests lubricating all metal parts by wiping them down with a cloth dampened with a high-quality firearm oil. Remove excess oil, but leave a light film of oil on all metal parts of your rifle, inside and out. As for cost, the manufacturer's suggested retail price for the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 is $489, with actual sales closer to about $400. I've seen offerings as low as $385 out there. As I pointed out earlier, Smith & Wesson also has their Performance Center Edition version of the M&P 1522 with a match-grade precision barrel, chamber, and trigger for a manufacturer's suggested retail price of $764. Now, before we end today's video, I'd like to remind you, if you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe down below. And thanks for watching. If you're looking for a good AR platform .22 rifle, the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 should be at the top of your list. Okay, it's lighter than a full-size AR, but there's no doubting the Smith & Wesson's design of the M&P 1522 provides one of the best representations of an AR you're likely to find. Sure, there's a lot of plastic in this gun, but it's very well built, and even this base model is very accurate. And if the reliability I've personally experienced with this gun is any indication of the performance you can expect from the M&P 1522, I'd say this is the one to get. So what do I think of the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522? After a few months of ownership and shooting more than 1,500 rounds, I'll admit I'm really impressed. There's not much not to like about this rifle. And like its bigger brother, the Smith & Wesson M&P 15 Sport II, I like the AR platform. So Yes, I'm glad I chose the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522. As I said before, I'm more of a handgun guy, so I don't own many rifles or even shotguns, but I'll admit that when I'm selecting guns for a range trip, this M&P 1522 seems to always be included recently. There's something to be said about its reliability and the fact that I can burn up hundreds of rounds of ammo for just a few bucks. And there's no question that the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 is just a lot of fun to shoot, especially if I add a suppressor. Again, one of the frustrating attributes of .22 firearms in general is their tendency to malfunction as they get dirty, and sometimes that occurs fairly early, spoiling the shooting experience. This was not the case with this gun, which happily has allowed the fun to continue uninterrupted without fail. And because this gun is so capable, I find I'm always looking for more challenging targets too. I'm even tempted to upgrade the optics and maybe even buy a few more magazines for this gun. Any weapon you carry is better than one you left at home. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll be back for my next tabletop review. Until next time, stay safe.